Hello everyone, Liliana from Vanillandcanela here. Welcome back to my channel, to another video and to the last day of October. So, you said you wanted me to do a part 2, so let's do it. And while we chat, let's put this laundry, right, fold it, get it ready to go upstairs. This is the aftermath of when you go away, isn't it? So, I did a Q&A for you guys a few days back, and there was a really good question from one of you that was thoughts on everyday life, marriage, money, raising children, goals, and managing work and family. So Joe, thank you so much for this question. Obviously, you know, it wasn't a easy, straightforward answer as such. So here we are. You guys want to know what I really think, where I stand on these different things. So let's do it. So thoughts on marriage. Now, let's go back a bit. Go grab yourself a cup of tea and a cup of coffee. I think this might be a little while. So yeah, thoughts on marriage. So I grew up at a time, I grew up in Portugal, in case you don't know, and this is the first time you've seen me. And growing up, I was always told and very much ingrained in me that I must know how to do all the house chores to please my husband. Okay, this was always like an ongoing sort of joke, not joke, that my mum had with me, and she would say things like, if you don't know how to do the washing up properly, your husband will send you back to us. Now, let me just tell you, I don't think these days people still think like that in Portugal at all. I'm 46 years old, so it was a very long time ago. Very, very long time. My mum is from a different mentality, a different era, and thinks very differently. So yeah, that was how I was brought up. The man of the house was the one you had to please, you know, don't upset your dad, you know, everything's got to be, does that make sense? I hope you guys are getting the picture about sort of a very traditional sort of family. That's what I had growing up, and yeah, I really hated that. I really hated from a very young age the idea that my purpose was to serve my husband. You know, the husband earns more, therefore, you know, the wife does everything at home. My mum worked all her life. She used to work from like 6 in the morning till 1:30 every day. And my dad worked night shift in, he was like a bakery manager. So they made the bread at night. My dad, I think he was quite advanced for the era that he was in, you know, but still very, very strict. Though my mum did most of the disciplining and the bringing up, to be honest. You know, my dad sort of was of an era where the men go to work, you make them dinner, they go to the cafe after dinner to have a coffee and be with their mates, and the wives are at home looking after the children, cooking, cleaning, all of that. I'm sure I am not alone when I say that other countries were like that. Some countries are still like that. So, but that was something that I really, really never wanted for myself, okay? I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. I never wanted to depend on my husband, or, you know, to feel like I had to bow down to his wants and needs. You know, I always really rebelled against that, which my mum and other women in my family told me would cost me dearly. You know, so I remember when I was 16, I had my first proper boyfriend. It was innocent, you know, but proper boyfriend. And he was from a family that we knew very well. And he had liked me since we were in like primary school, you know, like little sweethearts, young sweethearts or whatever. I was never that bothered about him, but when we were 15, 16, we sort of started going out, and I sort of broke it off after a little while. He was very much, bearing in mind that he was he was the same age as me, so he was 16 years old. He has probably, I know he's married, I don't know if he has any children or anything like that, we're not in touch, but he was very much a macho man kind of thing, you know, very much like my woman kind of attitude. And I broke up with him, right? Not very long into it, because I did not like his attitude. I was like, no, not having that. And I remember being in the car with my mum and dad, and we were going somewhere, and my mum was like, why did you break up with him? He, you know, he's a nice boy. And he is a nice boy. He's a nice man, I think. You know, he's a nice boy, and you've always had this, I think, you know, like, I never behaved like I was better than anyone else, but I've always been picky, that kind of thing. Why do you think you can do any better? Bearing in mind that I'm 16, right? And I said to my mum, my dad was in the car as well, just, that's not the type of guy that I'm after. I'm looking for someone to be my partner, and yeah, I'm not going to be his little woman, you know. And my mum was like, oh, you know, yeah, whatever, you got a lot to learn, girl, kind of thing. Many years go by, and the day I married Paul, my dad said to me, do you remember a conversation you had with us in the car when you were 16 about this, this and this? And I said, yeah, I remember it. And he said, you were right. You found the man you wanted, the man you thought you deserved, you think you deserve, you know. I can see that in Paul. And bearing in mind, my dad, right, has very few words. He's a man of few words, but when he says something, he will never say something he doesn't mean, you know, just to make anyone feel better. Trust me, I know. So it meant a lot to me that he said that to me. And I think that was very much from the start. I never wanted a marriage. I lie, actually. So even though I had these feelings of like, oh, I want a partner, it's also ingrained in you, you know, as a woman, that you must get married, you know. It's part, and God, I got married at 28, and by then I was on the shelf, you guys know what I mean. It's very different today. Again, times have changed, but I thought, I need a man to fulfill me, you know, to have children with, to have a life, then I'll be complete. And that is so wrong, you guys. You honestly, you do not need a man or a woman. You really don't. But what I do need, and what I have, is a partner, right? I know this sounds so like woke conversation, but even after I married him, I didn't know just how amazing of a partner he was going to be. And that's what Paul is to me. He is my partner in everything. So marriage for me has been easy, fairly easy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like we don't fight. We fight. Not physically, obviously, but we argue, should I say. all the time. We bicker about the little things. We agree on the big things, so that's never a point of argument, but we bicker mainly because I'll be like, why did you leave the butter out? What? Why would you put the butter next to the fridge and not in the fridge? You know, you guys know, I'm sure. I'm not saying that all men are the same, but there's always one in the partnership that tends to be that way. Yeah, so I very much wanted a partner, and that is what I have. I have never been made to feel less than by Paul. Never. He's always treated me as his equal. And yeah, so when we met and got married, we both worked full time. Someone asked actually the other day, and I don't think I replied, what did I used to do before I had children? So I used to work in finance, so credit control mainly. Yeah, nothing exciting, but yeah, that's what I used to do. And then obviously we weren't even supposed to have children because I suffer, should I say, with PCOS, and I got pregnant with Alex, and we decided that I would stay home and stay with the baby. We did not, Paul was very much like, if you want to go back to work after having the baby, you go back to work. If not, you know, you can stay at home. So yeah, we decided that. So I stayed at home. It was not as easy. Being a stay-at-home mum is not as easy as it seems, is it? You know, most of you have children, the ones that watch me. So anyway, so stayed at home. When Alex was 1, I went back to work part-time. This is when we were living in Northern Ireland. And then when we came back to England, I stayed at home. And then I worked a little bit as like, lunchtime lady at the school where Alex was, and I'd started doing YouTube, and this now brings me very much a part-time income, so I don't need to work outside the house. You know, we're quite happy for me to stay in, and it is very important for us to have one of the parents at home, especially obviously I have Ozzy now. Putting him in nursery would be an absolute nightmare money wise. You know, you're talking at over £1,200 a month if I was working full time. So I'm not doing that. I'm not paying someone else to look after my child and literally bring nothing home, you know. If it was like in Portugal, it's a lot cheaper to put your child into nursery. So most mums go back to work. I probably would have gone back to work if that was the thing. I have nothing against families deciding they want to go to work, you know, like the mum and dad both working full time. We have people in our family that do so, and I admire them, truly admire them, because it's not easy. It is not easy, definitely not. And you give up, either way you choose, you give up a lot, right? If you choose to go to work, both of you full time, the money is great. The time you spend together, not that great, right? Because you guys are at work and everyone's tired and all of that. But if you choose to stay at home, you don't have as much money, but then you're there for your kids, whether they like it or not, you know. So I think both of them require sacrifices. Yeah, so at the moment I'm at home, and again, because of YouTube, I really, you know, don't have to worry. We could, thank goodness, we could afford to just be on Paul's wages, you know, because that's something that a lot of military wives have to do. Mine, what I make, it's more of extra for the extra bits we want or need. If that makes sense. I hope this is not all over the place, but that leads me straight into, I'm sure you guys were asking about money. What was it? Before I go into money, let me just finish with the raising children. I don't believe there's a right way and a wrong way of doing it when it comes to staying at home or going to work. I really don't. We decided that I would stay at home. That was a decision that worked for us. And this by no means means that I am the maid at all times, you know. My main job while I'm at home is looking after my child, okay? Going to play groups, playing with him, feeding him, you know, what he would be doing in a nursery. And I don't think that I also have to do all the other things. All the other things, you know, oh, I've got to clean, cook, all of that. Do I do that most of the times? Yes. Yes, I do. But that's a choice. Paul has never said to me, oh, you're at home, so your job is to do everything. You know, and I'll just come home and get my slippers and my pipe and sit on the sofa. That is not how it goes. Okay, so I finished folding all the clothes. That went by very quick. Thanks for keeping me company. And I'm sat down on the sofa now, and I thought, let's continue. Okay, so I hope I'm not all over the place. I probably am. I'm not going to edit this video very much. It's literally going to be uploaded and be done with it. But yeah, so just because I'm a stay-at-home mum doesn't mean I work 24 hours a day, okay? Once Paul gets home from work, he helps. You know, he does bedtime routine with both the boys. It's a great time for them to spend time together, but it's also an amazing break for me. And by break, I mean I can make the dinner, right? Because as you guys know, Ozzy is always in the kitchen with me, which can be quite dangerous, you know, because I'm always looking where he's at. So he also spends time with the boys, and once he's home, we both work. Our main aim is to get both boys settled and asleep, so we can then get an hour, maybe an hour and a half together, and we chill out and watch some TV. Sometimes we barely speak to each other. Other times we don't watch TV at all, you know, we just chat. I think that's really important. Our marriage is really important to me. I think you know how people say children come first, other people say marriage comes first. No, it is true that the children will leave one day and you'll just have each other. And if you have nothing in common because you've forgotten about each other while you were busy looking after the kids, it's going to be very hard. And that's why a lot of people get divorced after the children leave. So I'm aware of that. And I don't think that's one is more important than the other. We seem to have sort of worked out what works for us. I found it really hard when I just had Alex. I missed Paul quite a lot. I thought it would be the opposite, that he would miss me because I would be with Alex a lot. But no, I actually missed him. But we sort of worked out, and as the years have gone by, we know, you know, what to do with each other. It does help that Paul is pretty wonderful, you know. He's very patient. He's not perfect by any means. He does my head in every day, every single day. But he also makes me laugh every single day, and I try and make him laugh. We have a very, very childish behaviour with each other, and we seem to work. We're happy, we love each other. I also think that a lot of that is because we're very aware how important it is to have a good home life. We like to spend a lot of time at home, and I think that's because we're so happy with each other. We have loads of friends that we see, and you know, but we are very happy just being together, the four of us, the the 3 of us before that, the 2 of us and the cats, you know. So it's very important to me to continue to have like a really good relationship with Paul and be very connected with him. And obviously the children, it's a love that's completely indescribable, isn't it? Like, yeah, the kids, I've got 2 kids, I can't get over it. All the time we say to each other, can you believe next year is going to be 20 years that we've been together? We've known each other for 24, but we were friends for a few years before we got together. Yeah, 19 years of marriage and 20 years together. Pretty crazy. That has gone by in a blink of an eye. To me, Paul is even more handsome now than he was when we first got together. So yeah, shall I stop going on about Paul? And that's what I think about marriage. You've got to work at it. If you've got to work too hard, then someone's not giving you the same energy. You know, like if you feel like you're working really hard to keep your marriage going, is your partner doing the same? I don't know. Raising children is really hard, and I really don't understand how some people say they had a baby to try and help bring the marriage together, because that's a lot of stress, right? When you're snapping at each other because you're tired and not slept. So yeah, I don't understand that. But so yeah, I've talked about marriage, talked about raising children a little bit. We're winging it. No one really knows what they're doing. Both my children are blessings. I would go to the end of the earth for them. I'm super protected, too protective sometimes. But I'm winging it, you know. They're both so different. I already see that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me stop going on about stuff. The other thing was money. Okay, so I won't go into too much detail, but this is how we have always worked. Independently of who is earning the most, all the money comes into one pot, and then we both get an allowance. Now even Alex gets an allowance. We get an allowance, which is exactly the same for both of us. Everything else belongs to the house. And by belongs to the house, so there's a fixed amount that goes into savings for us and the boys. One thing we do for the boys, which I think is very good, if it is possible. I understand that this is not all possible. Look, we're not rich. Alex asks me all the time, are we rich? We're like, no. But what do we do with the child benefit that we get every month? So basically, the child benefit is £145 a month. This, I'm not telling anyone any secrets, because this is the same for everyone in the UK, unless you earn a certain amount of money over it. But I think the first child gets 80 quid, and then the second child gets 60 odd, something like that. So what we did when we just had Alex, we topped that up to £100. So we saved the child benefit plus 20 quid, £100 a month. And then with Ozzy, obviously he gets less from the government, but we didn't think it was fair for him to have less, so we still top it up to 100. So we save that for the boys every single month. And if we can, we top it up. It's not always possible. And then we save a set amount for ourselves, okay? So it comes out as a bill, both of those 2 savings. And yeah, I just see it very much as a bill. I told you guys that I'm the one that looks after our budgets, and I keep Paul informed, you know. And then we have budgets for everything, for birthdays, for the car, for what else? Holidays, for car, holidays, anyway, anything you can think of, we have a budget every month. And I told you that I've got my thing there, doing a cash envelope. So at the end of every month, it's always different, right? Because the money that I have in those are not savings, they are budgets, so they will be spent. And then I deposit everything into the bank if it gets too much, so I don't have a lot of money at the house. But yeah, so that's how we do it. And so there's no guilt. If we decide to get a pizza, we have a budget for takeaway or eating out. Once it's gone, it's gone. Now, say we went down to see family, where, you know, like the extra petrol, because I have a budget for petrol as well. So the extra petrol, going out for food, that comes out of our holiday budget, you know. I don't take it out of our groceries budget or try and make it work. Like I said, a budget for everything. And yeah, we make the most of it. It's very, for me, it's more important, or for us, it's more important to have a good life than to scrimp and save absolutely everything for retirement that we might not even get. Like I said, we still save, but we're also very aware to do stuff together. And also the other thing is, we do not save like for a big holiday every year. It's just not our thing. Honestly, we went down to see family and we were comfortable as comfortable can be. We cannot wait to get home. On the way home, we're like, oh, we've been away. How lovely will it be to get home? So Paul and I were quite lucky. We travelled quite a lot before we had children. So that sort of need to go on holiday to Spain every year, we don't really have. We have booked a holiday to the Lake District. I think we're going for like 4 or 5 days next May. So we're very much looking forward to that. But yeah, we don't make like big plans. It's not that important to me, to us. Not at the moment anyway. I find it really hard with Ozzy as well. Ozzy doesn't want to go anywhere. He does not want to go and stay in a different room. You know, like even at our in-laws, the first night I had to stay with him until he fell asleep because he wasn't sure where he was, or, you know, and obviously, as I was saying to Paul, that if it was just the three of us with Alex, we would probably go abroad somewhere, because obviously Alex is not as needy of us, and I know that Oscar will be the same. So there's nothing to say that in a couple of years or something we won't all be going on holiday abroad. But I literally do not believe that I should scrimp and save every single month so I can have a week away in the summer. I would rather, I don't know, go out for ice cream every weekend down the road and be able to make those little memories, have those little happy moments instead of like 1 week away. If that's what you do, no judgment from me, you know, it's just not that important to me anymore. But yeah, but again, I can change, you know, I can totally change my mind, and in a year's time, I want to go away. This is where we're at the moment with our family. So I think that sort of answers all the money thing, I think. This video is going to be really long, but you guys bear with me. Goals. So the other thing was managing work and family. I think I've sort of talked about that. We just do what works. We're very flexible. If something, there's been times where I'm like, oh, I am touched out. I need some time for myself, which actually, by the way, you guys know I have the second channel, which is just shopping, right? I have a budget for that as well. So never feel like, oh, she's wasting all this money. It's a budget, and I actually get that money back by you guys watching my videos. But anyway, I tend to go on a Saturday morning, early morning. I go out shopping for that week. So I put out 2 videos a week. So I'll go to sometimes to Home, but if I go to Home Bargains, that week will be like a Home Bargains and a Tesco's. But sometimes I go into town and there's a lot more shops there, so I'll film two videos for that week. But that morning I have maybe 2 to 3 hours. Paul's always like, take as long as you need. but I just go on my own or with a friend, like an adult friend. So we chat, we have breakfast together, we do some shopping. I absolutely love that time on my own. And yeah, I love it. And I really enjoy having that time for myself. And I think, yeah, that's my little escape from a life that I don't want to escape from, you know. But I think having a break is important. And someone left me a comment about, I think I had an honest conversation with you guys about how sometimes it was too much being a mum, and not too much, but you know, you get days when you're just like tired. And this person said something like, oh, you know, so many people want children and blah blah, and you're here moaning about being a mum. 100% I agree. This is not a moan. I don't wish I wasn't a mum, but I am entitled to be fed up. You might work at a job, you might be, I don't know, a doctor, and it is very much a life vocation and you love it. You're still allowed to have days where you're like, I just want to walk away. You're absolutely that. You might love your partner more than anything in this world, but there are days where you're just like, you're doing my head in. And that is allowed. So let's not be a judgy muck judge pants. That's what I call them. So yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. I think that was the managing work and family. Just go with the flow. That's it. Finally, goals, things for the future. Things for the future that we would like. We would like to have a home in the UK, we think. As you guys know, we have a house in Portugal, but we don't know if we want to settle there. If we do want to settle there, then we've got it. But depending on the boys, we might want to settle here. So we live in married quarters, and sometimes it's really hard not to want your own home so you can, you know, paint the walls and whatever, change the carpet to wooden floors and all those things that you see all over social media. You want that for yourself. So we would love to buy a house here if that's what we decide to do, but at the moment we still don't know. Yeah, we just want to be happy, want our kids to be happy. I mean, everyone's the same, right? So our goals, we still have 9 years left with Paul will be in the RAF. So it's a long time. We don't know. Everything will depend where we're at financially when it comes to that end game. You know, like what we have today saved, is that going to be enough for us to buy a house, or is that not going to be enough? Will Paul be able to get another job as a civilian, as we say, here where we are now? Would we have to go somewhere else? Can he maybe find a job in Wiltshire? It is very hard when you don't really have any roots. You know, like I have my roots in Portugal, he has his in Wiltshire, but actually I don't know if it's at all possible to get jobs there. So, don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now is to raise the kids, be happy, and see where this life takes us. Because, my friends, one thing I can tell you as a 46-year-old, life is what happens when you're making plans, and that could not be more true. Okay, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even know if there's any of you still here. It's been a very long, and I do go all over the place when I'm talking, so I hope you're not too bored. I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to thank you for watching, if you are still here, but for watching all of Vlogtober. It has meant the world to me that you guys have been around and always leaving me lovely comments. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's where I'm going to end. I will see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye.